Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the pimp slap P.O.D., Mike M.
Pimpin' ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not your typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. T's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike, money's killers might even make the evening news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Buzz Sports Radio, you know we be pumping!
What up? What up? Welcome. You made it. We're here. It's Thursday. We're on the crutch to the weekend. Thursday leads to Friday. Friday leads to Saturday. Then we're at the Super Bowl. I'm excited to be here with you guys. Welcome to Last Call, Pub Sports Radio, Monday to Friday. You already know, 6 p.m. Eastern. Giving you guys all them angles, all them trends, all the things we dug out of the books today to try to angle that, align it with what's happening in the market, looking at them cash flow moves, and then putting it all together for a winning strategy to get everybody to the ticket with the the window and the ticket counter. I'm so excited. I'm tripping over my own tongue here. What a day we had yesterday. Can't wait to recap that with you guys. I'll cue to myself just a little bit, but we are rolling today. We've got ourselves kicking. We've got some hockey in play now. We're moving in the right direction post All-Star break. One last set of games where there will be a team in action, and then everybody will have had action after the All-Star break. That's when we can get serious about what's happening in hockey. Of course, we've got college hoops today. We're bringing on our resident Tuesdays here. Miggity Mac Daddy's going to come out here. CMAC's going to give us his college hardwood looks here. We'll talk about some of the extra spots that I found out there. Of course, we had a banger with our guy Jimmy the Bag today. So tons of college basketball that's going to be in play tonight, and excited about it because the NBA, that's where we'll cap things off. And a little trickery, obviously the trade deadline today, lots of movement. Frankly, didn't have enough time with this deadline happening so quickly to really analyze how it's going to impact lineups tonight. But I think we've got a couple of spots that'll still help us get that NBA. We'll scratch that NBA itch and see if we can't smack them bookies around a little bit. And of course, we're just a couple days away. We've got 2 shows left for Last Call. We're on the road to the Super Bowl. I've got another one today. We're going to go from some of these novelties and pregame stuff. We're going to dig into the game here, and I'm going to lay down a little plus spot for everybody that I think they should get in on. But before we get there, we got to start here, and it's all about recognizing you guys. You coming in here, just getting out of work, doing your thing. You know what we ask you to do. Smash that like button. In fact, 3 things we ask you to do. Smash it out there. Hit that thumbs up. Show them you're here. Let them know you're supporting us. Help us grow this channel. We need to get that recognition across this YouTube 6 p.m. time slot. Lots of guys and girls try to do it, but they don't do it as well as Pub Sports Radio 2. We need you to grab that pen and paper. Lots of great plays shared here, not just by myself and our panel, but everybody in the chat there. You guys are sharp as F, getting sharper every day. Love to hear the winners. Love connecting. We're building ourselves a nice little network here. Love sharing, going back and forth with you guys. I know you're not afraid to reach out and ask questions about games we don't talk about. Love hearing the games that you're on that you didn't get a chance to post in the chat. And of course, last but not least, throw them plays out there in the chat. We want to recognize you guys. You guys are what makes it happen here for us. Without you guys, we would have absolutely nothing. So it's great that you show up. We love to see the plays you guys share with us in the chat, and love to celebrate the winners together. So we've got ourselves a show today. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we've got a full card. So it's going to be a lot of opportunity to dig in here and try to get that cash. We're going to get money spots in college basketball, but we're not going to have to rush through that card so much because there aren't any looks on that first 7 p.m. NBA game. So spoiler alert, nothing for that first NBA game, but that doesn't mean we don't have plenty of NBA action as well. Nonetheless, we have plenty of time to get through the college basketball card before the NBA pops off for us, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So appreciate all you guys. There's my guy Joe T up in this chat. First guy here says, easy winner last night. Of course, he gave us that UCLA Stanford over, and he's giving it to us again here. He's got Merrimack and the Long Island Sharks, and he's looking at the over 135 and seeing points in that game. So let's go, Joe T. Thank you for sharing, my guy. Brian Watson says he's here for more winners. Me too. I'm waiting for you guys to put him in the chat so I can scribble him down and fire along with you guys. Albeit, though, the bankroll is plenty stretched today. So we'll see how that works out over the long haul. Patrick Burns back in the chat. There's our guy. He says over 154.5 in the Kennesaw State game is his best bet. So I'm going to scribble those down as well. Kennesaw and the over. Let's go. The Futon Bets is in the house. He likes the Lakers first half. I'm going to have to scribble that one down as well. We're going to talk about that game. I know both CMAC and I have a look in that spot to share with you guys. Kobe Williams in the chat says Golden State Warriors money line, fellas. Let's cash together. Kobe Williams jotting you down as well. I got to figure out a better way to copy and paste here so I can be more efficient. I still break out the old pen and paper just as I ask you guys to do. I practice what I preach. EQ says last call. Great to see you, EQ. Brian Watson. Markel in the house. What up, Markel? And there's Justin with the Stacks POD. Likes them Utes at +5.5. And the Stacks POD record is posted as well. Our guy Justin coming in on the daily, getting it done. He's going to probably be stealing one of my lines here in the near future, but that's okay. I'll let him borrow it. He can take credit too around his circle. That's fine with me. Chosen One, good to see you, my homie. Good to have you back here. And there's Senior Bumps, Perky Bump Sanderson in the house, rocking and rolling with our guy, Perky Bumps. Let's go. Let's see if we can't get this cash tonight, you guys. Nasty Nate says, Friars money, baby. Never in doubt. Were they? Nasty Nate? That was a lot of fun to see them finally cash for us. I felt like the last few times I popped them out there, we weren't catching victories with them, but we did last night. And there's Jay Smooth, the smooth ball. Got to keep them smooth, baby. Smooth balls. POD. I see it now. The smooth balls POD. Sanford money line. Balls head to head with the pimp. Let's do it. Yeah, you are head to head with me in that spot. So hopefully I get it. But if I don't get it, then I'm sure you will. So that's the way that's going to work today. My guy, Jay Smooth, thank you for sharing it. Jay Peasy in the house as we be pubbing. The Chosen One. And of course, smash that like button for the pimp. That's me. Smash that like button for me. Let's go. I don't ask you guys to do it for me very often. Hit that thumbs up. Let's go. Brian Watson says a lot of Leaf rumors out there for the Leafs. I think he's talking about Toronto. And there's Voodoo Ranger. OG really is getting elbow surgery. Dang, he's really taking that pink injury thing serious. Man, sometimes they call your bluff. You got to go under the knife. They'll open them up and be like, your elbow's fine. But that's going to hurt the Knicks in the short term for sure. Again, Chosen One says no Brunson tonight. That's an interesting spot out there with our guy Brunson. Ronnie Lofton in the house. The Futon Bet says no Klay Thompson tonight. EQ, is he officially ruled out? He's asking. And there's J Stone 9. This is Mike M. Oh, Jason Robertson. Hey, we're not going to get them all. I was hoping that Dallas spot would have been a casher for us last night, but that's okay. That's okay. Kent Davies, too many Fugan games tonight. I would not disagree with you, Kent. There are a lot of games tonight. Try to simplify. They gave us a nice little hockey card to work with, so we will dig into there. A lot of college basketball tonight. Very difficult to hone in on just the right spots there, but I think we did today. Ron Lofton says Niagara +2.5 with the Flames. Devils game over 5.5, so he's buying that down just a little bit to get a +204 spot. Ronnie Lofton sharing in the chat. We appreciate you, our guy. Subhuman Gaucho. Jared TG, even Mike, ready for some hockey tonight. Don't love the card for betting, but love it for just watching. Maybe fire some live bets. I'm going to tell you, just a sneak peek as we get to it, Jared TG, but every game except one showed me an over opportunity tonight. So for what that's worth, keep that in mind as we talk about this hockey card. And there's Jacqueline in the house. Always great to see you, Jacqueline. Thanks for coming back and rocking with us. Let's see if we can't get this cash. Kent Davies says just added Bill and Mary in the first half, +5 out there for the green and gold. Our guy Kent Davies is still a believer in our green and gold. I almost got there. Mom, it's a tricky little program, though. We'll see how it works out. Good luck on you, my guy. Let's get you that cash. Ricky Levine says, Pimp Slap, what's cooking? Florida regulation, Boston -130, and the Devils over 6.5. I don't want to give the spoiler alert, but we'll jump into hockey in just a minute. I'm not mad at a couple of those plays, though. I think the Florida Panthers are potentially a -2.5 spot tonight against the Washington Capitals, but we'll talk about some of these games. Patrick Burns has too many damn overtime games last night. Yeah, it's overtime season. Sneak peek here for college basketball. I would not be surprised to see that Penn State game go to overtime. As I was talking about some of those numbers earlier today, but you got to be smart about that. It's 10-1 to see the draw. I mean, we don't have the sports almanac here, but we have something I think is pretty close. Some even got just as Florida on the puck line. I don't know where the line went. +105, good for me. I think they smash on the Jets as well. Perky says, what's good, Gaucho, my man? And Sawyer Taro, I believe the new name in there. He says, anything on the Flyers versus the Jets NHL? Yes, indeed, we do. And you'll be surprised. I think when you hear some of these numbers, it's a specific spot for that game. And I think it's a good opportunity to smash. Cody Norton says, let's get this money. Mikey Nathan Cerna in the house. He likes Quinnipiac in the first half on the money line for Nathan Cerna. Appreciate you sharing that. Patrick Burns says, Nets are 3-13 straight up as a dog. I put a Cavs, Panthers, money line, Panthers parlay together. Let's go for you, Patrick Burns. Get that cash, my guy. The chosen one likes the Western Illinois under 140.5 and the FAU minus 5.5 spots for the chosen one. Thank you for sharing. And Perky says the Mavs are in a smash spot there. Smash spot for our guy, Perky. We know he puts them big bets down. And when he says smash spot, his money is where his mouth is. Resisting it all. Let's go, Mike. Thank you for all to do to help us learn how to win. My guy, appreciate that. Resisting it all. Appreciate you coming in here on the regular and hanging out with us at 6 o'clock Eastern. Brent Cook, what up? He says, Jets is the play. I'm not betting it, though. Brent Cook, if it's the play, why aren't you betting it? Wait till we talk about that game. We'll see what happens. Real Deal Prime in the house. Nathan Cerna's on the Hawks first half money line. Ron Lofton says, needs the Yotes team total over 2.5 to complete a plus 380 ticket with 2 tennis winners from earlier today. And there's Big Scott, 5-10 with a 2-leg parlay, over 5.5 in the Islanders game and over 5.5 in the Flames game. Pays them out at a plus 160. Not bad looks on a couple of those spots there. That Islanders game certainly had my attention there with Tampa Bay. Cody Norton likes the UAB is live. I'm on UAB first half money line and full game plus 6.5. Let's go there. Swizz says we be pubbing, and the Futon Bets likes the Drexel money line. There's our guy, Blue Numbers, sharing his Turfway action here. Turfway race 2 win with the 8, 7, and the 1. You guys know I am a horse enthusiast, and I will certainly write that down as well. All right, let's get going here. You guys know how we do this thing. We got a lot of ground to cover, a little time to cover it. We want to make sure we get you guys all the information you need here to go out and have yourselves a profitable night. But first, we have to do a recap. We got to start looking back at what happened yesterday. You know, I always like to look forward, but transparency is important, and we need to be 100%. We need to be accountable to what we did out there, and we did a fine day yesterday. We had a 6-3 run there to close the card out. You know, I'll start with the last one first, which was the most exciting. If you guys have seen me, you've seen me enough here. I mean, let's be honest. You guys are in here on the daily. We're doing this thing. You see me all around with some of these live streams. If you saw how excited I got about that Detroit Pistons spot and that last ad, you certainly should have been there with me at plus 14. I might have had too many cocktails. I would blame it on this brown bottle here, and it is what attributed me to jumping in on that plus 750 money line. So that was a nice little casher to finish off the night. But as far as the card went, we got that Tampa under 6.5. That was nice cash for us. Dallas Stars blew it. You know, that was kind of a back and forth situation with Toronto, but bad spot there. It was a plus 122. So, you know, we lost the unit, but not the VIG. And then we got that Chicago game under 5.5 at a nice little minus 105 spot. So all good in hockey, a little 2-1 run to keep things moving profitably after the All-Star break. We added one college basketball game to the card. We had that Northwestern over 141. That was a sweater until about the last 6 minutes of the game. So that was a cash for us, though. And good old reliable. Now we're going to have to put an asterisk on this because of all of the action and the movement that Toronto's made. I've got to dig deeper to see how this is going to impact the lineup. But we took a little double shot there, right? We went with Bridges to get the double at plus 333. He had himself 40 some odd points. I think he had 7 or 8 rebounds was the max number there. So he didn't get it, but we backstopped it with good old faithful was Scotty Barnes under 7.5 rebounds. We wanted to get them both. We knew if we only got one, we were playing for the big score on the house, and we got the one. Scotty came through. Bridges did not. And then I got a little too cute. You know, this Curry over 3.5 rebounds. How much time we got here? Fucking guy got 3 rebounds. He couldn't give me one more, and he had him for like the entire second half, but Golden State got the job done. Curry did not with the 3. You know, he had 8 every time he played the Sixers for the first 3 games in the season, or the first 3 opportunities there, and then last night he blew it. However, the Pelicanos got the job done. A lot of you guys were on that full game. Shout out to you guys and girls. We had the plus 3.5 for the first half. That got there, and I mentioned the Detroit plus 14 spot. So that brings us current for yesterday. We'll put that away. We'll close that window right out so we can keep this internet running as efficiently as possible. Got a bunch of windows to shut down, and we will get into shutting these bookies down today. Excited about what we have in store, and it's time to get out there and put the cash on the line and see if we got what it takes to come up with a big winner today. Top Set says, "What's up, boys? I'm 9-1 his last 2 days in the NBA. Feeling hot, my guy. You are feeling hot there. 9-1's a great number. Great run for you, Top Set. Let's hope you keep it going." Brian Watson, "Why everyone like the Mavs? Thanks." And Sub Human Gotcha says, "Bridges had a hell of a game. That double-double was always in play." It was. He just didn't get there. And it's okay. You know, we were smart, I think, about that and trying to take that big score, knowing that we had that little, I don't want to call it the free play because, there's no guarantees. But, man, that thing's been pretty freaking hot. So we'll have to see again what's happened with Toronto now. Just want to make sure we've talked about it enough. I think we're like 18 of 20 on that thing. But we got to make sure we take a look here with this next week and how this lineup's going to adjust and impact after the All-Star break with that guy out there. There's Jared Bush in the house. Perky Bump says the Knicks have their studs out tonight. Yeah, that's a bad spot for the Knicks, but let's start this thing up here. Let's get ripping into this NHL. Let's lace the skates up. We've got a lot of work to do. As always, a small window to do it. So we want to get everybody back off to what they're doing here. I know you guys are getting out of work. You're getting home. You're figuring out what's for dinner and what you're going to have from a cocktail perspective. Let's figure out what we're going to play this cash on tonight. And let's start with this hockey card here. Nice hockey card tonight. You know, this again will be the culmination. Every team should have been in play now at the end of today after the All-Star break. Very important that we get at least one game on the ice before we get these things rolling. And excited about this card. As I said many times already, we're going to open it up and we're going to talk about this Calgary Flames, New Jersey Devil spot to kick things off here. You guys have been talking about it. You guys know the situation here. You're looking at these numbers. You're looking at these analytics. Lots of things to dig into here with this team. But I'm going to surprise everybody, I think, with this play. We've got some interesting goaltending matchups out there. Markstrom, the Calgary Flames #1 guy at 15-13-2, 2.55 goals against average and a 91.3 save percentage. Vanacek on the other side at 17-8-2. You know, struggling as the goaltending situation's been for New Jersey, I was kind of surprised to see that 17-8-2. 3.23 goals against average. Hasn't been the easiest on him at this point, but you know, the thing going on with the Devils today is the Jack Hughes situation. Jack Hughes coming back, that always throws the lineups in flux. We always like to play the teams the first game their star players out, and then when they come back, I always like to try to give them a rest or a break before I play them again. But here's an interesting spot because, yeah, you're seeing it. I'm all over this under in this game. And, surprise, surprise, because it is this New Jersey situation that has been so nice on these overs. But Vanacek, I would think, is the weaker link in this thing with the 3.23 goals against average. Had a pretty decent start there against that Colorado Avalanche there. Only 3 goals on 38 shots, was a 92.1% save percentage. And, of course, we know Calgary off a low-scoring game there, 4-1 win against the Boston Bruins. So let's take a look at this thing here. Markstrom in the Calgary net, despite, Calgary's challenges going into the All-Star break, he's 2-0 in his last 2 with a 98.1% save percentage. So I get it. A lot of folks looking at this thing saying this Devils game should be an over, but Calgary's been a lower scoring team in the last couple of weeks, pretty much all season at this point. And the Devils with this Jack Hughes lineup, I think it's going to take them a game or two to figure things out and get back to them scoring ways. In the meantime, the reason that the scores have gotten so high in Devils games is because of how poor the goaltenders have played. I just gave you that 98.1% number and run right now for Markstrom. We've got Vanacek playing some of his best games of the season thus far. And last but not least, the away team, after their opponents gotten hit 25 or more times with a total at 6.5, is 10-22 to the under. The average score we're seeing in these games is 2.7 to 2.6. I know they can't get points, but even if you round those up there, you got yourselves a 3. Now, overtime would be a killer, but I don't think that's the case here. I think this is a low, slow pace to get this game going. They want to ease Jack Hughes back in the lineup. The only caveat there would be if Jack Hughes comes off and puts himself up a hat trick right off the hop in this thing, which I don't think is the situation. I think they're going to take their time. He is their superstar, their future star. He's the franchise player, and I don't think they're going to necessarily look to give him 35 minutes of ice time as he tries to go out there and get his conditioning back in shape. So I'm jumping in, and I got it. It's a plus 115 spot to take this under 6.5 in the Calgary spot there. I know a lot of you guys probably don't like to hear it, but it's good plus money in a situation with these goaltenders that I think matches up appropriately. So We will see, and we will move on to the next hockey game on the card. I'm curious. I know a lot of you guys are saying those overs. Jay Stone says Calgary team total over 2.5. Florida raced to 4 plus 214. And DC Capper says, listening to you, Mike, on the way to the casino for a big night. DC Capper, good on you, my guy. I hope you get that cash. Let's go. Good luck to you. Subhuman Gaucho says, can find the under 3.5 at plus 115 in New Jersey, under 6.5. Sorry. I don't know if you're sorry for me or you're sorry for anybody that's on the over, but that's okay. That's what we do out here. And there's our guy, Nick Earl. He says, Calgary Flames money line. Nick, it's good to see you in the chat. That's a nice little plus money spot out there for our guy, Nick Earl. And you know what? For all intent and purpose, we don't spend a lot of time talking about the cash flow on these things, but 56% of the bets, 75% of the cash on the Devils. The line's dropping. It's gone from a minus 142 to a minus 135. That's one of those scenarios where I would think that's kind of relevant because, that's kind of that 130 spot's kind of like the high end of a situation where you will see sharper bettors getting in on that thing. As it starts getting higher, they're just going to take plus money and roll the dice on it. And then they get beat up when it's an all favorites type of night. But that's how we're rolling to kick this card off. Let's move on. Game number 2 we're going to talk about, guys. I'm skipping over this Canucks and Bruins game. I just have enough of a card here between college basketball and the NBA as well that that's a tricky spot there. Vancouver, as they've been traveling against East Coast teams, have a tremendous overrun. And I don't want to get in the way of it. Boston's been playing hard. The Boston line's dropping. The sixes have been hanging out around sixes. And now we're starting to see some 6.5s at minus 130. So I would not be surprised to see scoring in that one, but I'm not going to play it. It's not going to be a spot that makes my card. And I talked to you guys about that Capitals-Panthers game. There was a big trend that I had on this thing for this Panthers spot to win this game by a 2.28. I'm just not going to get into that one either. Again, there's a lot of action on the card. This game, though, I am jumping into, and I know a lot of you guys probably not going to be happy with this one either. And I didn't do it like that on purpose. I mean, I want to be in alignment with everybody, but I just think that there's some things that we have going on. What's up, Wine Time? Good to see you. I think there's some things going on in this next game that are worth talking about as we tee it up. We've got this Winnipeg Jets and the Philadelphia Flyers on the ice out there in Philadelphia tonight. And, interesting little ditty here, 77% of the bets and 77% of the cash on the Jets. Yet the line's coming down from a minus 132 to a minus 125. Let's talk about how I'm getting paid in this game here. We've got Bruce Waugh going in goal for Winnipeg. They're giving Hellebuck the night off. And Bruce Waugh, the word serviceable is disrespectful because he's 7-3-2 on the season. He's holding himself at 207 goals against average and a 92.6% save percentage. You guys have heard me say it before. All those numbers align for being a quality and better than a quality goaltender there. That's one of the upper echelons of goaltenders in the NHL with those kind of numbers out there. On the other side of things, Philadelphia, we know their situation. They've got no choice but to use Ersson, and they're going to just run the tires off this guy at 13-9-3. Patterson, I believe, is the other guy they've got as the backup. He's a minor leaguer at best. The last time he played, he got shelled. So they are not looking forward to having to go any deeper than Ersson out there. And he's been more than serviceable with a 2.53 goals against average and a 90% save percentage out there. Ersson is coming off that 20 save performance on 21 shots, good for a 95.2% save percentage. And I just had to look at this one. Winnipeg, 0-4 in their last 4. I know that's pre and post the All-Star breakdown, but Philly just came off that 5-game losing streak. So you got to believe that kind of that monkey's off their back and they're feeling a little looser out there. They signed Owen Tippett. He's back in the lineup. They gave him the contract extension, and they're still looking to try to make some moves for, I believe, Zegras from the Anaheim Ducks. Travis Konecny is the potential guy to be, shipped out the door. They're also looking to wheel and deal some defensemen. But Jamie Drysdale's in the defensive side of this ice again as well. And these boys are playing, I think, a little fired up tonight. The Jets struggling to score. We saw that just the other night. Got themselves blanked. The Jets are 3 goals for, 12 goals against in their last 4. That's been good enough to get them 0-3-1. So the puck's not getting in the net. And what happens when you got the road team off a road game that was a shutout? They don't find that magic. They're 25-47 in that following game if they're road to road off a shutout. So if they get beat up and blanked, they're in a bad situation as they move forward. Interesting little spot here with this 3-0 game from Pittsburgh on the road. It's a short travel with a day's rest in between. But I think we get the stronger goaltending tonight out of Harrison. Now, he might certainly drop the wheels off this thing going forward, but I think this is probably one of the fewer times we're going to have the opportunity to take advantage now. It was plus 120 just a little bit ago. It's down to 118s, 115s, 114s, 110s, and plus 105s there. So we'll move this number down to plus 120. But again, the fact that this road team's coming off a road game and got shut out does not bode well. Typically, we're seeing these scores come into a 3.5 to 2.7 situation. So got to take that plus money. You guys know I don't want to be taking these flyers, but I got no choice in this spot here. I just think that's the play that makes the most sense. Ricky Levine says Lightning are 0-9 as a dog on a back-to-back out there for our guy. And they've got their backup goaltender in, so I like to see some goals there. Sharon Pulliam says we're head-to-head again here. I expected that. I expected a lot of people to look for, and I know our guy Ron Crawford was all over this Winnipeg spot too, but look, teams getting shut out. They're not scoring. That's not a recipe for me to want to go out there and lay any kind of a juiced spot for them boys. And Philly's home with the advantage. So I think a week from now, Harrison's going to tucker himself out and they're going to be getting goals on them galore. But in the meantime, here we go. Jared TG says, hey, I like it. I considered Philly myself, but I've been bitten by them too much this year. Yeah, we'll see what happens tonight. But let's roll on. We've got the last game for the NHL slate today for you guys. And should be a fun spot at 9 p.m. Eastern. Out there in the desert, we've got the Desert Dogs, the Arizona Coyotes, hosting the Vegas Golden Knights. And here's another little spot, you guys. We've been tracking these things. We've been trending them all along. You guys might know what I'm going to say as soon as I say it. But we'll start out with the goaltenders here. What we have in this spot with Thompson at 16, 10, and 4. Aiden Hill just played. And had a nice little performance out there to beat the streak. Vegas shuts down that Edmonton Oilers 16-game win streak. And Thompson himself has gotten 6 wins in his last 8 starts. This is Arizona's first game since the All-Star break. So I expect that tired legs factor, the conditioning, the speed of the game to make an impact on these guys. And they're going to their old reliable and Connor Ingram. Connor Ingram 17, 11, and 1 on the season with a 2.6 goals against average and a 91.6 save percentage out there. But do I need to say any more than the old revenge spot? You guys know how good this revenge spot has been to us. If you're the home favorite off and you lose that game, now you're on the road as a road favorite. 531 and 275 out there. I believe that was a little sandwich spot where Vegas had just beaten the Kings. While the Kings were kind of running hot, and then they moved out to Arizona and took that L. Arizona came in and they took that L. So we've got ourselves the revenge opportunity, and we've got ourselves this opportunity with low cash here. It's now minus 135, so it's ticked up a cent in that direction. But this is the third leg of the stool for me with this game in Las Vegas, kicking the shit out of the Arizona Coyotes tonight. And I don't know if I think they come out early, and then I think they park the bus and hang on to them. Just because we've got ourselves a little tired situation, I believe the conditioning and the speed of the game is going to impact those Arizona Coyotes. Despite Connor Ingram being in goal, we're going to continue to run this revenge factor until its wheels fall off, and it has been so damn good to us. So, point of opinion here, or point of clarity, the Jets game also follows that criteria as far as the revenge situation, but I just think that shutout situation trumped it for me in that. Just want to be transparent with you guys when I start talking about some of these model spots and how they fit. Yeah, Winnipeg does fit that model spot, but they're just not scoring, and that's not good enough for me to move forward. So there we go. Marcus McCarthy says, hey, buddy. I don't know if you're talking to me, Marcus, but hey, buddy, what's up? How you doing? Hope all is well with you. Let's go. Nunya says, I'm on UAB plus 5.5 and the money line, though going to be sweating that more. JPC says, straight out of low cash crazy MF named Gusto. Let's go. Our guy JPZ in the house. And Nasty Nate says, CMAC, it is that time to bring him on. I'll see when his camera pops on. We'll bring him in, but I've got a game to start off with. Well, he's getting himself finalized and ready. I know he was dealing with some technical stuff, so we will give him an opportunity to get himself ready. But I'm going to open up this college basketball card here with a unique spot. I had talked earlier today about Temple and Memphis here's the difference with last call. You guys know the deal. This line's moved from the 7 all the way up to 10s. It's starting to come back as well, but wonky movement that's going to get me off of this one. Where I am going to go with you guys, though, is I'm looking at this first game for the college basketball card being Oakland and North Kentucky. We've got this line opened up at plus 1.5. 70% of the bets and 70% of the cash on North Kentucky. We're not seeing much movement, if any at all. 144.5 is where the number opened up. 49% of the bets, 45% of the bets on the over, the number's dropping. So they're concerned in that spot, in my opinion, that this number is going to be a lower scoring game, which is kind of surprising because I felt like when I was looking at North Kentucky, despite the 3 runs that they had there of under games rather, felt like that was an over conference in the Horizon League. But I'm looking at this Oakland team as we get this thing kicked off, and I see we've got Oakland just beat up Cleveland. They just beat up Robert Morris, good old Bobby Morris, 9-point favorites. They laid the hammer to him, 87-72. And they were on the road against Milwaukee. Essentially a pick 'em. It was a plus a half. I don't know if I've ever seen a plus a half on a full game like that. But anyhow, they were plus a half at Milwaukee. They end up winning that game 91-87 as well. And they open up here as a small road favorite. The way I kind of looked at this game here is there's a lot to play for. Both these teams have a lot to play for. You look at the spread, though, for Oakland Golden Grizzlies, 14-9-1 on the season, 6-1 their last 7 games, and they've got themselves sitting there right at top of the division. They're 10-3 in the conference, which is good for top in the conference in this game here. And then on the other side of things, we've got North Kentucky sitting down there 3.5 games out of first place. Very important because these are not auto bid situations or usually at-large bid situations. They're going to have to win this tournament to get in. And North Kentucky is going to be in a lot of trouble in that spot. Now, North Kentucky is 8-3 on their home court. But as I look at this Oakland team, it's rare that we see a team that finds a way to be competitive and fight. They are 6-6 on the road. Granted, 7-2 at home. 9-1, as I said previously, their last 10 games. And I'm all over this first half in this one here. He says, JP says, yo, Mikey Cap, what's up with these first half bets? I took a shot with this one. I thought, as far as how they start this game, I think they come out there and they fire up. But, after this situation and what's going on with North Kentucky, I'm a little concerned about this number being as low as it is. It feels like it should be higher to me for the full game, which means I think North Kentucky's potentially live. But the way Oakland's been starting games to me is where I got to focus in on this thing here. We've seen the money line open at minus 128 for Oakland, drop down to 100. Now it's minus 110. And that was enough for me to kind of throw the red flag out there and say, wait a minute, full game. But I like the way they start games. They usually start with pace. They want to control the ball, dictate tempo. And I think it's going to be a nice little spot for us. First half numbers now. The pick'em is still minus 110. And we're starting to see some 115s and 122s, 125s out there. So the first half is moving in our direction. The full game is kind of moving in the other direction. Is another reason why I kind of looked at that yo-yo spot and thought, all right, we've got the opportunity for maybe North Kentucky to be live at halftime, but we'll open the cart up there and get it going. Waiting for our boy to get here and get rolling with us. In the meantime, we'll go a little out of pace here. We'll go a little off the playbook, and we'll go to my next game here. Team that has been good. I don't typically run them right back. Some guys are a lot better about that than I am. I'm just not one of those guys. I feel like go to the well on a team. Sometimes if I feel like I was just a little early on the spot and it lost, I might run back to them after a loss. But very rarely, unless it's the Scotty Barnes under and rebounds, will I just keep going back to it. And I had to take a shot with this one here. We've got the Northern Alabama, Northern Florida spot here at 7 p.m. Eastern. And we got a lot of signs pointing to go for us here. This line opened up at -6 for North Florida. We've got 61% of the bets, 74% of the cash on North Florida, and the line is dropping. Everyone's betting the Ospreys 13-11, but the Lions here might be the competitive play. Of course, we were just on North Alabama, and they were able to get us some. North Alabama was able to get us some cash, but in this case tonight, I believe this opportunity sits with the ASUN home favorites in conference play when they've got a total over 150. Are just 1-7 in those games against the spread. The average number they're laying is around a 9. So, we're kind of shading towards this thing and seeing, like, for whatever reason, they're saying that this North Alabama team is live, potentially a live dog. The average score we're seeing is 83.4 to 83.9. And this number's fives are the best that are out there at this point. There's 4.5s now, and it's continuing to drop. So we'll lock in the +5 for the college basketball card on that spot and try to keep it rolling out there. Nunya says North Alabama could choke, I believe. All right, well, I don't believe. That's okay, Nunya. I mean, listen, we disagree from time to time. That's fine. Let's go. We got our guy here. He's ready to rock with us. It's Miggity Mac, CMAC. What's going on, my guy? How are you?
What up? How you doing, my man?
Trying to get that green, fella. We've got ourselves quite the card here with college basketball. I love the spots that you laid out for us, and I'm eager to hear a different look on a few of these spots. I know we've got one that I dropped out earlier, so we'll talk a little bit about that, but let's talk about your first game. That's going to be the Utah game, the Utah and Arizona spot. So I'm curious.
We can get to that later. I think you know where I'm at, Mikey.
Well, I got you with this Northeastern and Campbell situation to pop things off here. We got the Campbell Camels and the Book Nerd Northeastern squad. We've been picking on them simply because they're not practicing free throws. They're sitting in the library studying for exams, typically to get into that Northeastern program. But we've got this line opened up at 2.5. It's moved to 3 now, +3 for Campbell, even though 73% of the bets and 71% of the cash are on Campbell, CMAC. We've got the 134.5 on the back number, 44% of the bets, 40% of the cash on the over. So the money's coming in on the under, and it looks like it's dropped a little bit. So we know the Northeastern Huskies are 8-15. The Campbell Fighting Campbells are, I like that name, 11-12 on the season. Kind of in a win one, lose one pattern right now, though, coming off that loss against UNC Wilmington. Northeastern has taken 4 L's in a row, CMAC. Lay it on us. Tell us what you're thinking about with this game.
Shout out to the chat, as always. My guy Justin, Sharon, my dude Markel, all the guys, straight OGs in here. EQ, Jared, Perky, Kelly, great to see you down here at the bottom. Top set, JP Easy, Swizz, Caddy Daddy. Let's sit on this real quick. To me, this is an over bet. This is dropped, and I'm going to get to it. These are 2 bad basketball teams. Every once in a while, you just get one of these shit stinker type games, Mike, where it could go under. But everything shows, to me, you play this over. Northeastern's giving up a ton. Those are great stats. You rip through there, Caddy Daddy. And at this number, it's basically a play. Like Northeastern and Campbell, when they play Towson, some of these other teams, they've gone under. And that could possibly happen here. But at this number, 132, I could only look over, nothing. I just wanted to hit on the total in this one. Northeastern's awful. Both these teams are awful, as I just got to. Northeastern loses their 4 straight, 5 of 6. They don't do anything well. I think they're pretty awful. Their defense is a little bit worse. They don't shoot the 3 well at all. Campbell's been pretty good at home. We're going to get to our other games. I thought I had to burp there. Oh, there I go. They're 8-4 at home here for the Camels. I always love Campbell here. And I think they're a little bit better. You talked about trading wins and losses as of late. Just beat Elon on the road for the second time, and they lost by 3 to Wilmington. I think they've been playing a lot better basketball, Mikey. And I got to be on them here. And these numbers are just, awful. Offensive rebounds a little bit worse, but everything else, these teams are just horrible. Like assists, 252, 206. Turnovers, 211, 262. Just you look at every number, it's pretty god-awful in this matchup. But I don't want Northeastern at all. Why is Northeastern even laying a goddamn point on the road? I know we're betting bad teams here, but I think this is straight value to me. And I got to be on Campbell here, +2.5. I think they can win outright. They're a little bit better at home. And I agree with a lot of the people that, like the over. So I'd approve of that as well. Smoking Camels, baby. I don't know. When's the last time you smoked a Camel, Mikey?
Yeah, it's got to be 20 years ago, probably 20, more than that. It's got to be 25 years ago. That was like,
what cigs did you like? Newports? Marlboro
No,
Lights.
I was always a Marb guy. I started off on the
Marlboro, there we
train
go.
there.
He's a Marb
I
guy.
was a Camel guy, but I rode the old Cowboys there, the Cowboy Killers, and the good old Marlboro man's done me right. So
You got the Marlboro points. Remember that shit? They used to have the Marlboro, send that shit in, get a Marlboro jacket. Oh man, I never smoked since. I've dipper, but
from way back in the day, I still get the occasional birthday presents from they'll send you something in the mail, like a Zippo lighter sometimes or whatever, like coasters, and I got
that's what I'm talking about. I remember that shit back in the 90s.
They still know my birthday, which is cool, but
damn right they do.
But I got hit one time playing hockey with a dip in, and it fucking swallowed it.
Oh, good luck to that.
Oh man, I threw up for like a good 35 minutes. I couldn't eat for like 2 days after that. I was like, all right, there's probably not much more dipping in my future. So anyhow, traded it up. We moved on up. Let's go. Let's talk about this next game. We've got 8 p.m. Eastern. So it looked like that was going to sunset you through the 7 o'clock window. A couple plays for the crew there. But we've got Kennesaw State and Austin Pay. They open up at 1.5. Still sitting at 1.5. 67% of the bets and 79% of the cash on Austin P. The number kind of not moving there either. 64% of the bets on the under, 51% of the cash on the under. And so a little bit of the bigger money hitting that over, but really you could argue it's not moving there either. So it's a little bit of a random assessment in this spot here. You look at this Austin P team, 11-13 versus the 13-10 Kennesaw State. I kind of thought up front here, like when you look at what Austin P's been doing, they just got that win against North Florida, but 3 tough games before that on the road. Is it just that they get the home benefit there in the home court? Kennesaw State hasn't done shit either. They're running off an 0-4 spot in their last 4 games. Lay it on us.
Yeah, a couple more shitty teams, and I want to back these shitty teams at home here. Austin P, just to put on that 8-2 to the over their last 10. You mentioned it. Lose their 3 straight. It was on the road, though, and really 2 of those games were pretty tight. 1 point loss to Stetson, lose by 6 to Florida Gulf Coast, and they just get slapped up by Jacksonville. And then they come home and beat North Florida. And this one, why I like so much, 8-1 at home. So they get back home, beat North Florida. And they're the better defensive team here, flat out. Like Kennesaw, what has happened to this team? They've seen a lot better teams, and they've been awful as of late. Losers of 5 of 6. And when I have the better defensive team and the better team, I think on offense is pretty even, but Austin P, I think, shoots it a lot better than Kennesaw. Austin P does struggle at the free throw line, which I don't love. But we're at home here, and they just need to win the game, and I think they can get that done. When I saw this number, I just had to take it. Better defense, 8-1 at home, got to be on it. Kennesaw 3-7 on the road and not playing great basketball. Sign me up. Austin Pay.
Austin Pay. Yeah. I'm a believer on that side of it as well. I was looking at Kennesaw. I mean, we just talked about Northeastern. I know it was back in November and some of that non-conference stuff, but look what they did out there. That Northeastern team there, they struggled to win. They were 2-point dogs though. So we got a bad Northeastern team. They're graded as a 2-point dog. They did win outright, I guess, is the one way to look at it, but not a great situation for them to be in. And you're right. They're just not performing on the road. ECU, they lose to FIU. Just not a good team. That was early again as well. But as they've moved forward, they're busting themselves up a nice little 4-game losing streak. In fact, 1-5 in their last 6 games as well. So sounds like you like the losing to continue, and you're going to take the 1.5 in your back pocket.
Yeah, this could flip anyway. I just had to take the better defensive team here in Austin P.
Like it. Let's talk about the one that the big one here, the big shutout. I was saying to Jimmy earlier, I was like, normally I like to get in the mud with some of these mid-major programs, and you got to have the ESPN Plus programming so that you can at least watch a little bit of what's going on and see how your game's looking. But in this one here, it's a big one. It's Arizona and Utah. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, and we've got 69% of the bets on Utah and 67% of the cash. We're not really seeing a ton of movement. I mean, I guess it depends on the book and line shopping, but it's been 5s, 5.5s, and 6s pretty much all day today. 160.5s where the total opened up. It's dropped a point now. It's dropped a point to 160 to 159.5s out there. with 51% of the bets and 64% on the under. And I kind of originally thought this does have the feeling of a lower scoring game, but why don't you give it a start and then I'll jump in where it makes sense.
Yeah, you think this could stay under the number? Arizona, the defense has been up and down. It seems like as the game goes on, they find their defense a little bit more. Second halves have been a little bit better for Arizona, especially to the total. I've seen Arizona here, Mikey, a couple of years ago, go to Utah and win. And I think it was pretty big, 15 points. I have to double check here. I had this pulled up. Where was it? 2022. They won 97-77. That could possibly happen here. There's no fucking way I'm back in Arizona. Or Arizona here wins out if the defense is just unbelievable. They lock down and they're drilling shots. And they're drilling shots from three. We want Utah. We want them at home. We want that crowd. We want the altitude, all the bullshit we always talk about on these shows. And I want that here. And I don't trust Arizona's defense. Back at home, I mean, get after it. And they just, won pretty big. They beat Stanford. And even that game, that first half, they were watching Stanford hit shot after shot, which Stanford can hit threes at times. But I got to be on Utah. I got on these points. This is a game they could win outright. And like I said, other than that kind of one game, they've taken care of Arizona last year. It was earlier on in the year, but I remember them beating them something like 80-65 when Arizona was like 11-0 last year. It was kind of before maybe their first conference game. So, yeah, take the Utes, take the 6, take it at some money line, maybe a little bit more than normal, as I always do on a dog. I got to do it.
That's how, if I love to approach it. If I'm going to take the dog, I got to believe they're going to win outright. And, I don't very rarely will I say that's just too many. Well, I guess there's some spots where I'll take the 20, but it seems like if I take the 20, they're just getting shit at them. They don't have a chance to win that game outright. So you're better off staying off. But
you mentioned earlier, Mike, I was on those Pistons and Cunningham gets ruled out. I go, oh, fuck, an hour before. This is going to change my bet. One guy, we see it, maybe over time makes a difference, but sometimes, Kings are on the bad spot. We'll get to one later in the NBA off the long trip, and it was a classic spot for them to kind of go through the motions. Now, they were up 2 going in the fourth quarter and got drilled. Yeah. 40 to whatever the fuck it was, 17. I mean, they kicked their ass in that fourth quarter, but yeah.
Well, I was happy to wake up and see. I don't refresh I don't just refresh the app. I try to go in and look at the score, try to at least earn it a little bit to see my disappointment or whatever. And so when I saw, I was like, holy shit, they actually won. And, I was kind of doing the 1 unit to half unit situation. So every unit that I put on the 14, I was taking the 700s or 750s. I think the last one I got was 600 or 575s. And then I must have had enough cocktails from that live stream to get to the point where I was like, can always put the more money back in the bankroll. And fortunately, I didn't have to do that, and we got plenty to stretch out tonight. But in this game, I thought
real quick on this, Mike, though, real quick, like they just beat Oregon, and that could happen. Oregon's a little bit young, played well, but someone just mentioned in the chat, lost to Oregon State, Washington State, at Stanford, lost that, gave up 100 points, and it's been pretty consistent. This is how Arizona's been, for years now in the Pac-12, which no longer will be.
The general consensus too is like, look how they played on January 6th, and what could go wrong. I'll tell you, you make that mistake and just kind of assuming that it's going to be the same. The revenge factor for this team and that home court advantage, 92-73 isn't in the cards. I don't believe in this one. Can they get the win outright? I do believe they're a live dog, but I want the 6 in my back pocket. I think that's a great spot to be right now. And again, that home court advantage versus it kind of negates the fact that, Arizona is not such a great road team. So I love the 6. I think it's a great look as well. I'm on it with you. And I'm going to probably get a little sprinkle on that money line. So I heard some guys saying that money line's starting to come down. I see it on one of my books. It's starting to come down as well. Hopefully the cooler heads are prevailing here and thinking that that's an opportunity for us to get that cash. So love it. Love that we're in alignment there. I was sweating it for a little bit thinking, watch them come in and just blow the barn doors off me with this one and I'm in trouble. But that's not the case. Doesn't mean that we're going to win it, but it means that we're at least on the same side of it and we see it similar. So you've got another one here at 8 o'clock. We've got this Oral Roberts here. Oral Bob taking on St. Thomas on the road with a line that opened at 7. 61% of the bets, 68% of the cash on Oral Roberts. And then as far as the total is concerned, 144 dropping down to 143.5, I guess. 61% of the bets, 83% of the cash. That's kind of one of those situations where I say I guess because it's like a half a point fluctuation on either side, depending on the book that you're working with out there. So I've been fortunate in some of these Tommies in previous seasons. They're having a hell of a year this year at 15-9. But as you kind of look at it, they did have 2 losses in a row, and then they came back. They got that UMKC spot, and they just beat them up. They were a 2-point favorite, and they laid the lumber on them, 71-56 in their barn. On the other side of things, though, Oral Bob's got themselves a nice little 3-game win streak going, all 3 at home, so they're trying to take that little win streak on the road. Do you think it continues and they get 4 in a row, or are the Tommies, in fact, to play here?
Tommies have been really good this year, like I talked about. And I think they've been excellent, on the defensive side of the ball. That's made them where last year you'd look and they'd score a lot of points, and we see a lot more overs, which has helped out. And they're here at home. Oral Roberts, I think, has been disappointing. One of their, weaker teams, maybe the last 4 or 5, I'd say. But I still think they have some good players here. Bedford, McBride, and they're going to have to play good minutes, which they normally do, 35-40. This team, it was January 13th, almost a month ago. St. Thomas went in there and beat them 78-67, I believe. They had an 11-point win. So I'm just normally I'm not jumping at these unless I really like it. I like this. A little bit revenge, but on the road. And we got a team in St. Thomas that's not normally used to laying points like this, Mike, Oral Roberts. This seems like this, to me, would have been a lot shorter. Everyone's real high on how they're playing. Now we're at 7.5. They've slipped a little bit. Couple losses, not great losses, but they beat KC on the road, and they are at home. But Oral Roberts kind of turned it around after some real bad stretch there of losses, have won 3 straight. I want the 7.5 in my back pocket. I took it. I think they keep this close a little bit. Revenge for Oral Bob in this one. There's a few in this conference that I liked. Like, I don't want to lay a favorite. Like, I like North Dakota. It moved from 3 to 4 today, and I don't want to lay points for them, but I think they get to Nebraska-Omaha, a team that they lost to. There's a few others, but this fit good enough for me and enough points where I think they can keep this close for Oral Bobby.
Yeah, St. Thomas to me is one of those teams that's the 3 is the number. When you start climbing over 3, you start wondering, how are they going to be able
I think this is high.
Yeah,
this is too much here. This is and before that win this year, a little bit better team we talked about, Oral Roberts had owned them before they started playing. I think they won 5 or 6 in a row. I think we get Oral Roberts at their top here. I'll take the.
Wasn't it Oral Roberts that beat up Ohio State in the tournament a couple of years ago? It was Oral Roberts, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had that run. Yeah, 2-3 years ago. Max A-Smith is on there.
That was then, and obviously here we are. But I still feel like they got some gas in the tank. They can still go out there and push some pace. I've seen them go out there with the tempo in some of those games to get the ball done. So if they catch the right breaks, they might even be a live dog. They might be able to go out there and. I was looking at that St. Thomas schedule there, or St. Thomas schedule with, a tough schedule spot for them because they've got to go on the road to Denver next. And, Denver's been a situation where they've been losing some games. So it's going to be a feisty little situation where they're going to catch all of Denver on that next game. And maybe there's a little look ahead spot to it as well. So not against that spot whatsoever. And you're catching the line movement. So you're kind of in the right spot there. It's kind of as we get later in the day. And I know it matters less for some than others, but you certainly want to see it budge a little bit. You don't want to see it be frozen the entire time here. And we're on. So let's go. We've got 2 more college basketball games, and then we're going to switch gears to the NBA. We've got I'll jump in on this next one here. We've got 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm looking at this Portland State Weber State game. We've only got 39% of the bets, but we've got 70% of the cash on Portland State. Starting to drop. Small ticket count, as is the case with a lot of these later night mid-major games, and 144.5 is where the back number opens up. It's pretty much stagnant. 69% of the bets, 87% of the cash on the under in this game. And I had to double check it. Like, I don't know if there's something I'm missing here, but we've got two pretty evenly matched teams. It's kind of a weird situation. I know when you look at Weber, they just came off of two big road wins against Northern Arizona and Northern Colorado. Portland State, though, just took that L off at Eastern Washington, and I feel like, does that give us a little buy low opportunity here? The challenge is they got thumped. They were 4.5-point dogs in that Eastern Washington spot, and they lost 90-77. So kind of a little uncomfortable position here, but because of where these teams are kind of situated and calibrated here, there's no look ahead for this Portland State team. They've got Idaho State on deck next. Idaho State's pretty much irrelevant. They're 5 games out of first place, albeit they did just come off a win themselves. But in this spot here, I came across a nice little number that jumped off at me, and this one's right on the fringe of where this number almost didn't become a valid factor. But when we've got favorites in the Big Sky and we got a line that's less than a -10, it's 4-23 against the spread in those spots. In fact, they're losing outright by almost 3.5 points. That goes back to just a couple of weeks now. There's two conferences that fit that model there, but nonetheless, they're losing those spots outright. And I thought 9.5. I mean, unless the entire starting line's academically ineligible in this game, that's too many points for me. Short, sweet, to the point. I jumped in on this Portland State side of things, and 9.5. It was 10s. Then it dropped back to 9.5. Now we're getting on our way back down to 9s as well. So we're starting to see kind of the right situation. And the bigger bettors are taking the points with Portland State. So I don't know if they're a live dog, but that's one of those spots where I feel like they could come out and win this game. It's plus 350. I might not get crazy with it, but I think that's worth a sprinkle as well. I know Weber State's kind of the class of the conference, and then there's kind of everybody else, but not this year. They're 9-11 against the spread, and I think it's a good opportunity to try to sneak in there, maybe a backdoor cover with all these points.
Yeah, EQ, Caddy Daddy. I'm good to hear it. I like it. As well, Smoke and Mirrors. Great to see my guy. Smoke. Up in here, Jason. What's up, my dude? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. Maybe I saw you up in here the other day. But Patrick, as always, Perky. Dude. It's Perky. Have a good time here in Vegas. Crazy time right now in Vegas, baby. I love it. I like the points, too. One thing I see with Portland State, I went through this game pretty good, is, a little bit in conference, they've got their ass blown out. I've even seen that with Portland. They just they're a totally different team, and they come back home and they play well. And other than Eastern Washington, we all know is kind of the class here, kind of beat them up at home. They've been good at home and beat down some teams. So, I thought this number was about there. I don't want to lay points with Weber, even though we know this is a spot they want to be at home, but they're not a team at all, Mikey, that I want to lay points. No way. See, this is the dog or don't play this game at all. So I agree with you.
Yeah, and Markel says got the Portland State first half money line. Markel, I will be thinking of you and rooting you on as I watch this shit show of a game at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to have to get a couple of TVs rolling here to watch some of these games because there is some 8, 9, and 10 o'clock action. But that brings us to 10 o'clock here, the last college basketball game that we've got for the slate today with Last Call and our guy CMAC out there. Looking at this Cal Irvine game against the Gauchos in UC Santa Barbara, +4 number, sitting around +4, 67% of the bet, 66% of the cash on the Gauchos. And the numbers going up. We got 48% of the bets and 80% of the cash on the under. Yet it opened at 142.5, and we're seeing movement all the way up to 143s, 144s, 144.5, all the way up to 145.5 now as well. So looks like the general consensus says points. The Gauchos at 13-8. The Anteaters, though, 17-6, busting up everybody. They just took down Hawaii 93-68. That's essentially a no contest there. They were asking for mercy and trying to throw the towel in at halftime. What's the read here? What's your thoughts, Connor?
I haven't moved on this game. I've been looking at it, especially the last 3 or 4 hours. A little bit of both. I don't agree with this. I know they've scored a little bit more, and Irvine's the better team, better defense, but it shows in this line. This line's right where it is. They're 4.5-point favorites. It's dropped 3.5. I've been impressed. Irvine rolling 2 winners of 9 of 10 have looked, excellent. This is always, though, such a good rivalry. I think Santa Barbara too is playing a little bit better. They, start the year, both these teams not playing great. Santa Barbara is starting to kick it into gear a little bit. It's how you look at it. Just Irvine, the better defensive team. And one thing when these teams get together, maybe a little bit down from past years as well, even though I still think they're right up there, obviously with this conference, especially Irvine, is this total is too high, Mikey. These past years in games, this total would be 128, 134, 133. Now we're jumping up 10 points. Just because Irvine's been, scoring a little bit lately, I still think they have a solid defense. I've been really looking at this under. I did have a ton of totals on today's card, but this is one that caught my attention immediately. And both these teams can get hot, but it's just such a great rivalry. The teams, they just play so tight that I'm really looking at this under. And lean Santa Barbara being here at home. Not a lot of travel. We know these teams know each other so well, just up the road. But strong lean here on this under, and I might move on it. Did you look at it at all?
I was with you on the under. I was just looking at Irvine's kind of the way they rip these unders off. And, I know they can score in any given time, but they got themselves 4 nice unders in a row. And, from a totals perspective, when you've got 2 teams here that I know at home they like to score. They got the home court advantage, which to me would lean me towards, Irvine. I somebody in the chat said it there. They like to live bet Irvine. I feel like I'm always live betting Irvine because they're down at some point in the game and they just can't keep the pace. But then they figure it back out. Everything kind of clicks back in the groove and they start going out there and beating them up. So I think I'm with you on this under. I haven't pulled the trigger on it, but it feels like it's the cash is in the right spot. I think this is the fact that the bigger money likes this under and it's moving in that direction for us, or the other direction means we're getting it at a better value, I think, when it comes to the points. So
I think so too. Maybe this is one to wait live, as well, Mikey. But when they play, when you got to look at these conferences, the bad teams where they score a bunch of points too. I start to look at other kind of slower teams, and then you got to put this is a rivalry game where this game should be in the 60s. So like at this number, I'm heavy on this under.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get there with you as well. I'm going to make a note on that one and keep my eyes on it. I got a shit ton of action in play between hockey, college now, the NBA as well. So I got to see how some things transition here for us. But I like it. I like the look. I think that's a sharp look on that thing. And I don't know why the line's moving in the other direction. It just seems foolish to me. But let's go here. Let's transition. We've got the NBA on deck here. We've got ourselves an interesting little slate. I kind of went to try to tread lightly in the NBA just because of this movement that's happened, right? We knew the trade deadline was today. We saw a lot of guys making moves. We saw a lot of teams moving out there. And it always concerns me when you've got that deadline because, you might have teams that just don't have enough bodies to put out. We know Memphis is struggling to get bodies on the court anyways, but, that can replicate itself across a lot of teams that are trying to make some package deals. So, we don't have anything on that Spurs game, as I could tell from some of the messages you and I were trading back and forth here. I see the line's 10.5. It's still sitting around 10.5. The total's not moving either. And the cash is pretty split between the two. 58% of the bets on the Magic, 46%. I don't want to lay 10 points with the Magic. I don't care if it is against the Spurs. That just seems like too many points. And then as far as the total, it's really not showing any tells as far as it could go over, it could go under here. I know it's just a weird spot and obviously easy to say, but it's one of those things I just didn't want any part of it. Unless you have anything to say to it, we'll move on to the Golden State Pacers game.
I didn't have a ton on this, Mikey. Magic finally lost the other day. It was all right day. I just went like 2-1 in the NBA, but I had him against the Heat. It was all right spot for the Heat. We had talked about it, and they got it done. I needed to see it, and they were very good offensively. And other thing, the Magic had played, a bunch of games, amount of days, yada yada. You know how it goes. Spurs on the back-to-back. They looked to the Spurs early. Right now, even as a dog, I can't back. We talk about the Pistons, the Grizzlies, these other teams, the Blazers when they're a dog at home, and a lot of these teams where we want to take them a little bit more. But Spurs it's just been a rough go as of late. And I still think they're a team maybe to bet, especially down the stretch where we're getting really, really big numbers. But I stayed off. It seems like a solid game for the Magic to bounce back. You know, that last game was in Miami. This is technically off the 4 or 5 game road trip, but yeah, I'd just stay off.
Yeah. So who was it in the chat that was asking for the prop? I mean, my concern about the props here is the Spurs have the propensity to get smashed, and if they get smashed, you're going to be facing some guys that are taking some lower minutes out there. Then you're not getting the full benefit of their buck. But you know, I guess the one I would look at if you were looking for a prop in this game, I would lean to Banchero. 6 or more assists in each of the Magic's last 8 games, and you can get his over assist at a plus 105 spot. So I would think he can move the ball around, but my concern is if they go up 30 points, how much is he playing in the second half as they get things rolling? So I would tread lightly in that game, but I would lean to Banchero with his assist there. Again, multiple games. He's got a nice little run going, 6 or more assists in his last 8 games. So that would be the only thought I had on that game for anybody that was looking to get through. I love hearing you guys asking about the props, though. Sometimes I throw them out.
Yeah.
Is anybody playing him?
I'd be on Wendell Carter. This seems like it eat down low here for the Magic. His points are just 11.5. I think he gets 14, 15 range pretty easy in this game. So I'd look to Wendell Carter here. Should have plenty of opportunities down low against the Spurs team. It's just kind of the Olay defense I like to talk about. Olay.
Olay. Well, we got another 7 p.m. start is with this Golden State Warriors and Pacers game. And this is about to pop off already as well here. We saw the Klay Thompson news out there. Really, again, a situation where there's just not a ton of movement. The only spot I would say that there's potential movement here, 59% of the bets, 68% of the cash on the Pacers. You certainly want to see something happening there, and it's not. The total, though, opened at 249.5. It is dropping a little, and I referenced that because we've got 47% of the bets and 71% of the cash on the over. And yet it's kind of getting a little air taken out of the little steam taken out of it. So not anything I wanted to get involved with there either. The Klay Thompson news. I think the Klay Thompson factor is kind of factored into this number. And the thing that concerns me is watching what Golden State did just last game to the Sixers, 127-104. They beat them up. This is now the 5th straight road game they've had, and they've had a hell of a schedule. This is going to be a second leg of a back-to-back. So generally speaking, I think the overs become in play there. But 5th straight game, and it's in a tight little situation here. So they've only got themselves, 6 days? They've played. This is their 5th game in 6 days. That's a tricky spot to be involved with from a Golden State perspective. What do you think about that, Connor?
Yeah, Thompson going to be out. I think Wiggins is a go, and so is Draymond Green, unless we've gotten other news. I think they're good. I think that you take the Pacers a little bit as I talk about, like on the regular. It happened the other night. Rockets, a bad road team where they've been good all year, covered because the Pacers are laying 6 or 7 points. And it just always, and we got a hot Golden State team playing well, but you mentioned it, bunch of games in the last few days on a back-to-back and a couple of good wins the last few days. I still think Curry should have a pretty good night here. I like the Pacers. I don't want to lay 6. Not with that defense. Even though I think this is a solid spot for them, especially to get a good win here as we're about to get to the break here soon. Lean Pacers.
I just got bit by
maybe
that
their team
Pacers
total.
Yeah, I just got torched by there the other night there where they were down the entire time. They got on top of the number and then they closed out and they only won by I think like 4 points, not covering the 7.5. So I wasn't happy with that. You mentioned Wiggins. Yes. Andrew Wiggins got 14 or more points in 7 of the last 8 games that the Golden State Warriors have played the Pacers. So he's very comfortable with that spot out there. It's a low juice opportunity for Wiggins, but again, just not something I got involved with here. Not something I wanted to jump in. I was just really trying, this isn't the All-Star break situation. This is just kind of that, yikes, what are we going to do with these boys type of situation and who's getting traded and who's going to be here and ready to play with the movement. So 7:30 though, Dallas Mavericks, New York Knickerbockers. We know now OG getting out there with the elbow surgery, and we've got this line open at 3.5. It's moved as high as 7. We got the lucky 7s here. We got 7s on the line. We've got 77% of the bets, 77% of the cash. on the Dallas Mavericks here, and the totals dropped. 43% of the bets, but 63% of the cash moved this total from 228.5 all the way down to 223s now in some recent movement here. And this was a tricky one. I originally was looking at this thing and thinking about that over. I like this situation where you've got the next opponent this is an NBA-wide trend, but the next opponent that's got more than 2 days rest, that game where they've got that opponent coming up is 40-27 to the over. And we're seeing it go over by about 6-7 points a game in that situation. Leans me to this OKC-Dallas matchup next. OKC will fit that criteria with the rest there, and it would lean it to a 227. But I look for the correlated movement, and I'm not seeing it there. I'm not seeing the money's coming in on the under. The bigger money's coming in on the under, and it's falling. It's a lean at best for me with this Dallas over spot, CMAC. But, I wanted to get in on the Knicks. It's just that since OG's been out of this thing, they haven't quite been the same, and kind of leans me back to the other side with Dallas. I just don't know if this number's got a little too bloated now. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, is this game you really want to get involved with? I mean, it looks like Luka and Kyrie will play. He's been in and out with the thumb. I get why you want to see the over, because this is kind of who's playing for the Knicks. Mashy, I wanted it the other day against the Nets. I didn't play it, and it came up under. They beat up on the Nets. Kyrie had a pretty good game, 119-107. But yeah, the Knicks, I mean, they traded for what? Burks and Bogdanovich. I mean, but who's playing tonight? OG's still out. Randall's still out. We talked about, we missed last Thursday, Mike, then it's hit right after that, the Josh Hart double-double. I know he didn't get it that night, and he went right back, and even this last game, I think he had 10 and 10. I know it's just
I saw it.
Yeah.
I was like, shit.
Yeah, it was just classic when you give it out, even though he's hit it 4 or 5 or 5 or 6. Yeah, you know how that shit goes.
Yeah, of course.
But he should get big minutes. McBride, it looks like Brunson basically has to go. He's in, right? That I looked up. No, he's out. Sorry. He's out.
Yeah,
Brunson, he's out. Man, I don't know who goes for the Knicks. Who's played well, won, 10 of 11. They finally lost, like you talked about. This seemed like they're just kind of limping here, to the break. Who goes for them? Yeah, I think you look Mavs, and this line's moved, and there should be points. But I don't want to be involved.
Yeah, Duck Cleaning Call says Dante DiVincenzo's spot there. Yeah, he's gonna have to if he's been laced it up, he's been firing shots like crazy. So yeah, look at his props. He's got himself 25.5 as the total number out there. I mean, I would think Kyrie's obviously a good spot, but again, I just worry about this thing getting carried away and you're not getting the full bang for your buck on this thing. But I do have an official spot. Here's one I jumped in on. It's 7:30 start as well. So we've got some time before this, about 20 minutes before this one pops off. It's the Cavs and the Nets. Everybody's favorite there in the Cavs. Open at 7.5, has moved down to 7s. We've got 51% of the bets and 54% of the cash on the Cavs. The total's where I'm going with this one, though. 224.5s on their way down now, 224s and 223.5s. Here's where I've got this reverse line movement. 56% of the bets, 63% of the cash on the over. And we're seeing now the current number for this total. There's 224.5. It's a little juicy at minus 115. Everything else is 224s. 224 at minus 110 will be the number that I'm going to jump on this one. And I'll tell you the reason that I load in this one here. This is a spot specific to the Cavs, and it has to do with the total on this game. So specifically in this case, let me just double check. But when we've got the Cavs in a spot where the number's greater than a -5, so I just have to check and make sure it's still active. It isn't better than a -5. The road Cavaliers on a line that's greater than a -5 are 0-5 to the under, and they're smoking the under by almost 20 points. So I saw this one here as an opportunity to say I can jump in here with this Cavs team. We know the Nets are kind of in a tricky little spot as well with what they've got on the line. I got screwed the other day by Bridges. Of course, we talked about that with his double-double spot, but I like a lower scoring opportunity here. I looked at the first half. I thought about splitting it up in two. I just want the benefit of the full game in this one here to give me this lower score. We know we've seen Garland killing it. The Cavs are back. They've got their boys ready to rock here, and it could be a tricky anything could happen type of situation with the Nets. But, the Nets have back-to-back unders out there. And this number is coming down significantly. So I think the line functionality tells us the Nets would be the team that's going to push the pace. And I don't know that they do that tonight here. When you look at these last two unders, 238 and 236, the Cavs, though, 3 unders in their last 4. Some of these unders are still going under 215s when they had that Memphis team, 108, 101. So I'm all over this under. Give me the under at 224 CMAC. What do you think about this game?
I agree with you here. Under. Talking about the Nets, their stuff here, the trade deadline. Dinwiddie gets dropped off. I look at the Raptors just want to wave his ass. They don't even want to know. Just deal for him to dump off. Someone will pick him up. Who knows? Probably the Lakers or I don't know. Maybe the Sixers, some shit like that. Nike. But I love I am with the Cavs. And now that they're healthy and rolling, the unders with them. We saw them kind of the injuries in and out to start the year. We see some sloppy play and overs, but we've seen the unders a little bit more lately with everyone going. Yeah, and what happens with this Nets team tonight? They haven't been great scoring. Simmons should get some minutes though, right? Here tonight. They still have Claxton. Thomas, yeah. I mean, I saw his double-double. I mean, we'll see how it comes. Sometimes he can't score enough, but assists, rebounds. I saw plus 800, plus 750 right now. Maybe that's worth a sprinkle. I think he sprinkled that a little bit. I think he could maybe get there, especially if he plays, the last few games, he played, 20, 25 minutes? Like, if he could get over 30, I think he could get that. He still can't shoot to save his life, but maybe put a little on the double-double at 8-1. I think he could get that.
I like it. Let's go. We've got this 8 p.m. start. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the Milwaukee Bucks, and kind of a dog-to-favorite situation. Now, I saw in the chat that Dame's out, right? So there's no Dame time tonight. 48% of the bets, 44% of the cash on the Bucks. It's moved. But again, the big factor there when you pick out one of the big guys, going to be a situation where you're going to see that line move. And the totals drop now from 226.5 down to 223.5 with 58% of the bets and 67% of the cash on the under. Big line movement here on the total. It went from on the money line. The T-Wolves were a minus 102. They're now a minus 124, which again, I would expect to happen. I think there's less validity in those numbers based on the fact that Dame's not playing out there. And Kelly V starts us off with this one, C-Mac. She says Milwaukee 4-16 in their last 20 against the spread. Yikes, C-Mac. Talk to us about this one.
You know how I don't want this Bucks team at all. And I did early on, only in spots, especially first half, and we cashed on it. And now kind of lately, they've just been stay away. I almost wanted to look at them as a spot to take against the Suns the other day. Glad I didn't. They looked horrible. It was a good stay away. Yeah, no Dame. We have no Middleton. What's going on? They just traded their backup point guard, Payne. Who's playing point? Who the fuck's playing point? I mean, for Milwaukee, yeah, I just tough one. Is Lopez going to be back too? I wanted to see that. I don't even think he plays here. He's been out for some personal stuff he's got going on. This is T-Wolves. It was plus 1.5. I know now it's -2. We know the T-Wolves good on the road, better defense here, Mike. This is the NBA. We always could get shit. When the stars are out and stuff like that, guys step up and win. But T-Wolves here for me. The team that doesn't play defense, the team that does.
This isn't even stars being out. This is just holes in the. They just don't have the guys to fill the position. This is what I was talking about at the start of the NBA. Is like how many guys are we going to have on the team to fill the spot up there? I'm gonna jump on that T-Wolf spot with you. I'm gonna go. I see -1.5 right now, but I see a -125 on the money line. I'm just gonna go back up and take that money line at -125 for me. So I'm gonna push out on those points. I'm gonna be push safe here. But I like it. I think this is. I don't want to chase the number now that where it's at, but I'm going to go with that spot there. I think this is fun. This feels a lot to me like what we talked about yesterday with that Pistons game. Like you start to look at this thing and you see some of these holes. You got to exploit them out there and take advantage. So I'm going to make that a show ad for me. I was a little light on the NBA side, but let's talk about this Nuggets and Lakers game here. We got a 10 p.m. We're going to transition to the end of the night. with the NBA card. The Nuggets opened up at minus 3.5. 69% of the bets, 66% of the cash on the Lakers. The total moved from 230.5 down to 230 with 42% of the bets and 61% of the cash. And of course, the Lakers money line has moved as well from plus 136 down to plus 133. It's coin flippy though. It's about 50-50 on both sides of it, CMAC. I know this was one of the games on your radar. I'll just punch it right up and say I'm jumping on the 3.5. I think this is the spot where we do see LeBron active and ready to play tonight. I also think this is one of those spots for me. This might be a little more of the psychology behind it, but LeBron's kind of one of those little bitch players there that wants to go to the front office and complain. And, we need these guys and we need to go trade the whole roster in. And, they've kind of let him know, like, it's not going to happen, dude. You got to go out there and get it done. The challenge that I'm concerned with, though, is, this recent kind of road exposure that they've had out there. And I always say, the toughest place to play is after a couple of road games. They don't just have a couple. They got themselves 6 in a row now going in with this Denver team coming to town. Take it away for us.
That's the one thing, and I forgot to hit on it with the Bucks. We're on, I think, a 5 game. Now they're coming on. That's why I like the T-Wolves even more with everything we went on. Lakers on this, won 3 straight. This is one, though, if you look at it, other people are just going to be like, listen, Nuggets are just better. They go in here and win. They've kind of owned the Lakers a little bit. I know Lakers, a couple wins, but I got to do it. The whole Kobe, I got to be on the points here. LeBron's going to go. Davis is going to go. His team's won 3 straight. I think they can outright win. One thing with the Nuggets, they've won on the road, but they haven't been a great cover team. They haven't covered a ton all year long. So they could easily go here to LA and win. They're that talented. We know that. But I'm with you, Mikey. I'm on the Lakers. I got a 4. I think 3.5, 3 is fine. We'll see if they can get it done here at home.
I'll tell you what, I went the prop that I was highlighted for this. So you guys had asked about props earlier. The Jamal Murray prop for the 3-pointers jumped out at me just because of his freaking consistency out there. The all-time leading 3-point scorer for the Denver Nuggets, 934 in his career. The guy just goes out there and splashes. And, when you look at the Lakers, they allow the most points, the 4th most rebounds, and the 6th most assists to the opposing point guard position. I know everyone likes the Joker triple-double. I see that number's around a plus 200 now, but I wouldn't sleep on this guy to go out there and hoop, man. Jamal Murray ain't going to fuck around tonight. I don't know that he goes out there and gets the triple-double, but right now his 3-pointer spot is it's reasonable numbers here, minus 125 for him to get over 2.5 3-pointers. And because of the number of points that they allow out there, Jamal Murray to get the double-double is plus 370. Probably a little lofty because we know that, the Joker spot probably makes the most sense. But Joker's at 2-1, suggesting to me when I look at those numbers. Well, now I guess he's minus 1. Oh, no, that's 3-pointers. Let me find this triple-double here. It's suggested to me at 2-1 plus 195. Usually we're seeing him around the plus 150 spot. So maybe he's not the guy tonight, and that double-double for Jamal Murray becomes alive. But I like this Lakers spot here. I think there's too much at stake for these guys. We're talking about the statues and everything else going on. Ricky Levine says Denver's 18-0 straight up against the Pacific Division. Does Kobe night end it? Yeah, Kobe night's going to end it, man. They're not going to fuck around on Kobe night. Nobody. No way they want to sit out
Someone
there.
Put it in there. Under. I'd look at a little bit the under. Lakers way fast paces, but some of these games, like when they played the Knicks on that trip, or even the Celtics went under. And Denver is just one of the better under teams all year. Kind of like the Celtics, they're efficient offensively, solid defense. So we get an under, and I think we get a little slower, high intensity, and that game could stay under tonight. So I lean that way, under.
I like the call there. I think we all like that spot, which could make some folks nervous. But I think tonight the real question is, why is that line only 3.5? They're trying to bait you into taking.
Yeah, do we get some bullshit? Do we get some fouls too? You know how it works with the NBA. Who knows? Yeah, with everything. Yeah.
Well, I'm closing it out. I got to play here with this last game as well. Here, something that this is probably my favorite spot of the card. We just talked about these Pistons the other night there and how they were good to us here. 6.5 is the number. It's now 7s and moving on up to 7.5. 78% of the bets and 75% of the cash on the Portland Trail Blazers. laying a lofty number at home, but the Pistons on that second leg, total open at 226.5, 61% of the bets on the over, 53% of the cash on the over. Nada in terms of total movement here. The Pistons 0-14-1 going back to January 2020 when they're not a plus 11-point dog and they covered the previous game by 18 or more points. Kind of fits that little narrative in saying they're bad, but they're not that bad that they're 11 points or more. They're not a double-digit dog, and they just got out there and blew that spread apart that last game. So great little fit for Portland in this spot here. They also have another little number here where it's a fade opportunity based on the assist from the previous game out there. And the fact that the Detroit had the points that they did led to the assist that they had. And because they were in that window of 30 to 38 and a line that's bigger than a -5, there's a 7-39 fade spot for Detroit tonight as well. So I like getting involved in this one. The favorite, as long as it's not a 10, as long as it's a single-digit line on the favorite versus an unrested opponent, 60 and 32 in those spots as well. So all things kind of point to me in this spot to saying Portland. I know the number's moving a little bit, but I don't really care. I don't think that's not going to keep me off it. The Pistons got theirs yesterday. The Trailblazers get theirs today. We still got plenty of 7s out there. There's a 7 at -105. Good enough for me, CMAC. What do you think?
Yeah, shout out to everyone. Kelly, appreciate it. Have a good one. Ricky, Real Deal Prime. There he is, the grinder. My dude here. Gerald Jones, great to see you, my man. Brent Cook, everyone in here. I'm sure you told him, Mikey, before we bounce, hit the goddamn like button. That's all we ask. I like the Blazers too, but I ain't laying 7 points. No fucking way. So good fucking luck. I think this is the classic spot for them. And they've owned the Pistons, beat them, 9 of 10. We'll see. Cunningham sat out last game. Does he play? The Trailblazers, a lot of these guys, I think, go. Simmons, Henderson, Grant. I think they're all pretty good. I mean, wait on that. I haven't heard of Tom Brogdon. I'm sure he goes. So Portland at home, I like it. Stretch to 7 now. I do think they win. Do they cover? I will root you on. That's for goddamn sure, Mikey.
Yeah, it's going to be the late night special for me. I'm going to be watching this. There's quite a few games now. We got some college basketball at that 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock window. We've got, for me, 10 o'clock. Yeah. For you, it's like noon, I think. Isn't it your time, noon, for this Lakers and Trailblazers game? But something like that, But we got it. We're through it. We're on our way here to getting that cash, guys. 7:30. We get into these cards with these hockey, college basketball, and the NBA. We want to give you guys the goods and help you get paid. So CMAC said it. Hit that thumbs up for us if you would kindly show the support for my guy coming in here on a Thursday. CMAC, tell him what you got cooking. What's going on with you this weekend? Super Bowl's right around the corner. I'm going to drop a Super Bowl spot out there as well. I mentioned that at the start of the show.
Yeah. I will. Just hit me up. I haven't got my Super Bowl. I've already gone through all the props, everything I think I'd be on. But this is Vegas. I always got to go to the casino here. I got to head up the street to Green Valley Ranch. I got to get the packet, baby. I got to have the physical packet of props, which is like a whole fucking thing. Probably like 50 pages and roll through it. And I'm a little late. Normally I got it a couple days ago. But I got to go run and grab it. But Saturday morning, that's it. The rest of the week. Cab and I got to get the game here tonight as soon as we get off here, see what game we are going to look at. But join us. We'll go through the rest of the card the rest of the day. Like, NBA, NHL, you can jump on unless you're too hungover from a Friday night of fun. But Billy Briz probably will be on. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to that cash. I always love doing those Saturdays, especially look at the board going forward. I love it, my man. Thanks for having me. Let's get paid tonight, my dude. Appreciate it.
Let's go, my guy. Get that cash. Go follow our guy CMAC out there. I told you guys I'd give you the goods on our road to the Super Bowl. Thus far, we've got ourselves the red Gatorade to have a little fun to open this thing up. We went with the Travis Kelce over a half a rushing yard at plus, I want to say it was 15. I've got it written down. Plus 1,500, I believe, was the number. We've got the game to go to overtime at plus 1,700. Tonight, I'm going to give you the first drive spot here with the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers first drive ends in a punt. Not a turnover, not a touchdown.
I like that.
Punt. And it's plus 130. I was like, plus 130 on this opening
drive.
Wow,
it's that high? I like that.
I think the jitters are going to play a part. We got these boys. Maybe, it takes them a little while to get things going. I think the defense is ready. on the Kansas City side. I'm going with the punt at plus 130 to keep us rolling, you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Real Deal Prime, Brett Cook, Tricia M. You guys are great. Without you guys, we have nothing. We appreciate you coming and rocking. JPZ, Scotty, sharing your looks in the chat with us is always a lot of fun to recognize you guys. Sorry if we didn't get to you today. We will get to you tomorrow. Ricky Levine, good luck to all you guys in your action tonight. Hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. Subscribe to Pub Sports Radio. Go get gold. Tomorrow's a horse day. Fridays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Jimmy the Bag betting with the bag. They're going out there racing them virtual ponies. You get a pony by being a gold member. You get a shot at $50. What else could be more fun to go into the weekend with some free cash courtesy of our guy, Jeff Slaughter at Pub Sports Radio. Holding it down for you guys. Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. You know what we say, baby. Stay pumping. Let's go.
Get it, baby.